Hello, dear friends. Time puts everything in its place and also the economy. Everything that rises excessively ends up falling due to a principle of physics. The real value is usually stable and is not prone to big jumps, which are typical of speculative goods. Opinion piece. Gold versus cryptos. Gold stabilizes on the upside and recovers. Precious metals beat the cryptos. Crypto weakness revalues silver. Copper hits highest level since 2011. Agricultural prices soar to highest level since 2011. Young people are the big losers in this crisis. Turkish lira sinks to new lows against the euro. Russia ditches the dollar for more than half of its sales. Italian village sells houses for €1 to restore them. Russia shows off world's only combat space station. We are all being tested to the limit of our patience. Let's start. There has been a substitution of cryptocurrencies for precious metals to unquantifiable and therefore unverifiable degree. There have been 70% drops in cryptocurrencies. As Aristotle said in his Metaphysics, if it happened before, it can happen again. As Larry McDonald of the Bear Traps report opines, if something has happened 3 times, it can happen a 4th time. If cryptocurrency represents an escape from fiat currency, then an exit from cryptocurrency should lead to the ultimate non-fiat currency, gold and its playmate, silver. Gold and silver are not substitute to fiat currencies. Fiduciary currencies are substitutes for gold and silver. Palladium made a new effect the other day. Inflationary havens should work to the benefit of gold and silver. In addition, due to growth in electric vehicle and solar panel production, silver has additional demand drivers that should propel it to new recovery highs. Silver is the energy of the goddess. Every time the value of a cryptocurrency rises, there is a talk of a speculative bubble, and that it could deflate at any time. There are precedents. In 2017, there was a fall in the price of Bitcoin that rushed down other virtual currencies. Now there is also a fall, but no one is writing it off, but rather a bump on a roller coaster. Cryptocurrencies. JP Morgan is preparing to offer Bitcoin fund to wealthy clients. JP Morgan Chase & Co. is preparing to offer a Bitcoin fund to wealthy clients, the latest sign that Wall Street is warming to the larger cryptocurrency after it soared in recent months. DeFi sets new record of 2 million active wallets. The decentralized finance ecosystem, DeFi, has reached a new milestone. The total number of active wallets has officially surpassed the impredictable 2 million mark. XRP holds steady at $1 as Ripple SEC case unfolds. XRP has managed to stay above the $1 mark after several days of bearish selling. Charges brought by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission appear to be playing a minor role in the price movement as Ripple receives growing support in the SEC prompting case. Tether passes $50 billion market capitalization milestone after doubling from $18 billion $80 billion, at the beginning of the year to $36 billion in March, the market capitalization of Tether has already reached another milestone. It has surpassed $50 billion. Such an event is also representative of the overall growth of stablecoins. In the last 30 days alone, stablecoins, including Tether, have increased in value by almost 30%, from $61 billion to $78 billion. Precious metals. Gold stabilizes higher as traders await Fed meeting. Gold futures begin the week with a modest move higher on Monday, recovering just over half of what they lost in Friday's trading session, as traders await a meeting of Federal Reserve policymakers. Copper hits highest level since 2011 as global recovery boosts metals. Copper rose to its highest level in nearly a decade as a global recovery from the health crisis extended a rally in metal markets. Aluminium is rising, and iron ore jumped to a new record high as commodities advance toward the highs of the last supercycle. Metals are benefiting as the world's largest economies announce stimulus programs and climate commitments as they recover from the impact of the crisis. Agricultural prices soared to their highest level in 8 years, renewing fears on food inflation. A rebound in U.S. harvests threatens to make essential food products dramatically more expensive, and costs could soon spill onto grocery store shelves. Wheat, corn, and soybeans, the backbone of much of the world's diet, are rising to their highest level since 2013, after gains last week prompted some analysts to warn that a speculative bubble was forming. Economy. Tesla lifts S&P 500 ahead of tech earnings wave. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq rose Monday, boosted by Tesla ahead of the electric car maker's quarterly report, which kicks off this week's results from several high-growth companies. White House says capital gains tax hike will affect only top 0.3%. The White House has responded to Wall Street and Silicon Valley criticism of its plans to raise capital gains taxes for high-income Americans, saying it would affect the incomes of only a portion of the population that was not earned on or based on rent-seeking. Russia dumps dollar or more than half of its exports. The dollar share of Russian exports fell below 50% for the first time, recorded in the fourth quarter, after a multi-year campaign by the Kremlin to reduce the country's vulnerability to U.S. assets. China Navy gets 3 ships to tighten control in South China Sea. The Chinese Navy commissioned 2 warships and a nuclear submarine for its fleet in the South China Sea, where it has territorial disputes with other countries. Spain. The government is preparing for the end of the state of alarm and is studying which measures of the social shield should be maintained. The government maintained its intention to lift the state of alarm on May 9th, and therefore has already begun to prepare the new phase that will open then, and to analyze with the ministries which social and economic measures depend on the validity of this instrument, in order to extend by decree those that are still necessary in the final stage of the health crisis. The IBEX index starts the week by recovering 8,700 points. The tourism sector, banks, Fluidra and ArcelorMittal have led the Spanish selective index before the avalanche of references in the coming days. Wall Street's main indexes open with moderate gains. Young people are the big losers in the crisis. The younger population is once again paying the price in a crisis. If in the previous one they were hit, in this one many of them have found themselves outside the umbrella of social protection measures. The underlying problem is job insecurity, which ends up affecting their income, access to housing, and professional stability. Google paid tribute to the International Day of Spanish. On Friday, April 23rd, Google dawned with a big ñ in its search engine. The Day of the Spanish language was celebrated due to the death of the writer Miguel de Cervantes, whose masterpiece Don Quixote de la Mancha is considered one of the greatest jewels of universal literature. Morocco asks Spain for explanations for hosting the leader of the Polisario Front. Morocco has expressed its anger that Spain hosted a year a week ago the leader of the Polisario Front, Brahim Ghali, 72 years old. Since Sunday, April 18, he has been in a hospital in Logroño, in the north of the country, under a false identity, where he is being treated for cancer. Europe cautiously eases restrictions. Europe begins de-escalation with the relaxation of measures in several countries. Italy, Hungary, France or Belgium relaxed their measures in view of the improvement of the data. The exception is Germany, which tightens them. The Turkish lira sinks to new lows against the euro. The Turkish lira's slide accelerates again with the news about the US and the Turkish Central Bank. The Turkish lira is already at an all-time low against the euro and is close to a record low against the dollar. The Zapatista army will make a trip to Europe to share pains and rage. The Zapatista delegation plans to travel for 6 to 8 weeks by boat to meet with hundreds of social organizations. Their first destination, Galicia. A delegation of the Zapatista Army of National Liberation of Mexico will begin a long trip by boat with the intention of arriving in June to the coast of Galicia, Spain, where it will begin a tour that will last at least 4 months and will cover 27 countries. The 15 people who lived for 40 days in a cave without sunlight, watches or telephones emerged for their subway lair. The group of 50 volunteers who were locked in a cave in France finally emerged last Saturday after having remained there for 40 days as part of a scientific experiment aimed at analyzing the limits of human adaptability to isolation, local press reports. One of Italy's most beautiful villages sells houses for €1 to repopulate its whole town, or its whole village. Nearly 1,000 homes are part of this initiative promoted by the municipality of Castiglione di Sicilia, located on a hill overlooking the Etna volcano. This town, considered one of the most beautiful villages in Italy, has put old houses on sale for €1 to repopulate its own old town, local media reported Monday. In quotes, "We have done a very meticulous job inspecting more than 1,700 properties, explained Antonio Camarda, mayor of the town located in the province of Catania. Of these, 937 are uninhabited and are candidates for possible sale, he added. In this regard, he indicated that only these homes that are in poor condition or almost in ruins will be sold at €1. Those in good condition will be part of a program to make them habitable for certain limited purposes. The world's only space combat station, developed in the Soviet Union and protected by a cannon and a fighter interceptor, is shown. The Almaz station was developed in the 60s for intelligence and control tasks from orbit of military equipment. The world's only space combat station, developed in the Soviet Union, was first shown on Russian television. The Almaz station was created in the 60s. Devices of this type were developed for photo and radio intelligence tasks, as well as for control from orbit of military equipment located on Earth. The station was equipped with 34 engines, 17 of which were main engines and the others served as backup. Opinions. According to the X-22 report, the slug is panicking as the forensic audit continues in Arizona, but they will try to block the information for reaching the people. The truth will not be stopped. The people are the force. The people will demand justice. During the audit, they are using the light, ultraviolet light, to see the fold marks. The day of judgment is coming, in opinion of X-22 report. According to Jacques Attali, the future will consist, in quotes, of finding a way to reduce the population. Of course, we want to be able to execute people or build camps. We get rid of them by making them believe it's for their own good. We will find or cause something like a real economic crisis or not, and the weak and fearful will succumb to it. Therefore, the culling of the idiots will take care of itself. They will go alone to the slaughter. Close quotes. Because this is a personal opinion of Jacques Attali. Let the black swan come, opines Stefan. Yes. This black swan, where is it? He's urgently needed, and it is probably still on his lunch break, isn't he? Or he's still sleeping, and the remaining mire is saying to itself, sleeping black swans must not wake up. I don't know when the black swan will wake up and appear. We are waiting for it, but we try to always keep expectations low, and also not to fall for date predictions. It will come and it will remain secret, but it will wake up the required 50 to 7%, if not much more. It's a similar story with a long-awaited currency realignment. Some sources have always said it would be a surprise and come when no one expected it. That means a stage where there would be quite a bit of chaos, and chaos has begun. Collapse of Bitcoin prices, massive price increases, and Germany on a tighter lock, while loosening up other European countries. Or maybe it's many little black swans coming in a single file, one by one, and eventually coalescing into one big black swan. The conductor knows it, and the musicians are ready. What would happen? What would happen if the bad guys were in control? First, Trump would have already died of a heart attack or in a tragic accident. Second, General Flynn would have died in a plane crash with his brother. Third, Linwood and Sidney Powell would have been shot in the street by a member of a violent organization. Fourth, Trump supporters would have been arrested, charged and punished for sedition just for reading articles. So would all Republicans. Fifth, there would be a war in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Ukraine, and of course with Russia as well as China. So, World War. That would have come at present approximately to Europe as well. Sixth, all alternative channels would be eliminated immediately after the first dispatch of contributions against the media narrative worldwide. The operators would be arrested immediately and sent to a subway labor camp. Seventh, there would be book burnings of all alternative authors, especially those offering alternative healing methods. Eighth, whistleblowers would get bonuses for anyone they reported, even for the smallest infractions. Ninth, communities would turn on each other. A scenario not wanted. Oh yeah, of a Little Faith. Oh yeah, of Little Faith by Mike Hayden. Can you complainers, whiners or naysayers who profess to be religious and spiritual and who are here for the greater good not understand that we are not now living throughout the greatest tests of faith, trust and patience in all of our human history? First, don't you think the great multidimensional coalition would like this to happen already? Second, do you think those on the front lines fighting for all us, who are literally sick to their stomachs and tired of having to rescue infants and face the worst of all evils on the ground, would like this to be over? Third, don't you think those white hats who are eliminating the minions who are holding up the currency reset would like everything to be prepared and ready for our exchanges? Fourth, don't you think that the sincere purveyors of information, disparagling cult gurus, who under constant criticism continue to bravely give contradictory information as it is given to them, would like their appointments to finally unfold? Fifth, do you believe that those of us who have arrived here in good faith synchronically are also anxious to get on with our projects and uplift humankind? Sixth, have your complaints, criticisms, and lack of patience over all these years brought us closer together, solved any problems, or made you feel better and understand the bigger picture? Seventh, do you not see that this can only happen when all or most of us prove our integrity to the higher powers, that we are truly ready and worthy of the new abundance they are giving us? Eighth, we are all being tested to the limit of our faith, trust and patience, and the wheat is being separated from the chaff. Ninth, we follow God's rules and we are in His time, not ours. Thanks a lot, dear friends, and be happy this week.